So it's August the 30th, 2018 at 11:12, and it's actually nice and sunny. I had to have this zipped up in the house, but I don't out here. It's quite nice. Anyway, I already talked to you about this one. I'm going to return this one today. We watched 2 movies last night that were terrible. Baker's Man and Off the Menu. And we watched this one first, and then I put this one on, and then James said, "What happened to the other movie?" Or whatever. What happened in the other movie? I'm not sure. And I just said it ended, and he was like, "Well, this seems like the same movie or whatever," and it doesn't at all, but they're about the same quality, really bad. Like, James asked me, "Is this Hallmark?" And I was thinking the same thing. I had to look at the box to see if it was Hallmark. And this one, it was so... It was really amateurishly done. Like, the acting was just terrible, and yeah, it was awful. Just awful. Yeah. So, one of the best books I've ever read, Pom Pom Animals by Trick or Tree. I don't know. That's not her real name. She was born Tsubasa Kuroda in 1981. She graduated from Tokyo University of the Arts, and she does these pom-pom animals, which are awesome. Like, I don't know if you can see them from there. Most of them I'm not into, because it's just the faces, and it seems like a decapitated head around, and I wouldn't be into that unless you stuck a body on it. But there's a couple here that are full animals. There's sheep, which are adorable. That's page 62-63. But my favorites are these ones right here. Can you see that from there? So fantastic. They're budgies and Java sparrows, or Java rice finches, whatever. But fantastic. She has one peeping out from above a bun that she's put in her hair. So you can do whatever you like with those things. And there's hedgehogs that are full animals too. I also like the regular sparrows. So lovely. And there was another one in here that I liked. The normal sparrows were on page 56-57. And then at the back, she tells you, like, after that, she gives you the materials and everything. She gets you interested in looking at all of these little guys. And then she introduces you to the pom-pom making basics, page 66-67. And then goes on from there, right? And I feel totally confident I could make these pom-pom animals, given her instructions. And they look fantastic. Like, she shows how to join pom-poms together. Because with the birds, it looks like you're using 2 pom-poms there. Which kind of makes sense, right? And so what other bird I liked in here? Where is it? Don't know. Anyway, totally great. Everyone should get out this book from their library. So fantastic. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot better today, which is strange. My fingers aren't hurting nearly as much. My back's not hurting nearly as much. And I don't know what I did differently yesterday, honestly. I think it was just cumulative pain from the 6 chocolate muffins that I had when James was away, and then he came back and I was eating right again, and then that was getting better, right? So now I'm feeling a lot better. Even though yesterday I started a batch of wine, mostly using apple cores and crab apples that a man gave us. He'd picked them with his son, and he gave us some crab apples. And so anyway, and some of the remainder of the cherries that I had, I'd sent some up with James for his family, but I guess they didn't want them, so wine. So yeah, I'm making a batch, and I started that yesterday, and then I'm also, I got 3 pots of soup made yesterday, and it turned out really well. I used apple juice from my apple to sweeten the tomato soup, and I used leeks. Normally I'd use yellow onions, but I used leeks, and it worked out really well. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, Eat Well, Look Great by Dr. Sarah Brewer. And this, I'll just show you a couple pages here. You see how it's laid out kind of like you're reading a magazine article or a newspaper, and with the pretty fancy pictures and everything. Well, the whole book is set up like that. So I would recommend this to everybody. It's something that you can slip in your bag if you carry a bag around town, or a larger purse. You can put that in and take it with you wherever you go. So there are many points in the day where you're waiting for a bus, or you're waiting for somebody, or you're on a coffee break or a lunch break or whatever, where you just have a few minutes, and you don't really want to be reading a fiction book, honestly, because you forget where you were or whatever, and you can't, it takes a while. Like for me anyway, I do my best reading in the morning. It's quiet, the dogs are back asleep, they wake me up, they go outside, they come back in, and then they go back to sleep. I can't go back to sleep, so at 4:30 I'm reading, and there's nobody else in the world seems to be awake. So I get my best reading done then. But so I imagine other people are like me, and it takes a little bit of time to wind away from whatever you were doing and get your brain into a book, right? So something like this, it reads like a magazine. Like, I understand the appeal of magazines. You flip it open, you read a little bit, and you're fine. That's fine. So you get 5 minutes of reading done here and there, whatever. So rather than renewing your subscription to Chatelaine, which I used to love to read Chatelaine, I'd read all the copies once they were tossed from the library, because then I would get them free. And I didn't really care. I don't ever read magazines in doctor's offices because that freaks me out. But yeah, somehow the leftover magazines from the library didn't scare me. I don't know why. I mean, surely they'd be filthy, but so I find really good recipes in Chatelaine, and I enjoyed reading the articles on nutrition. I think they do a pretty good job as far as women's magazines go. I enjoy that. But I'm saying maybe rather than getting that this year, if you're into Chatelaine, which I was, then you will be into this. So just pick this up. And this book came all the way from Nanton for me, and I'm very grateful that I was able to borrow it because it was a really good read. The woman who wrote it is, where did I read that? Oh yeah, she's a licensed doctor, also registered nutritionist and registered nutritional therapist. And you can tell she knows her stuff. Now, a lot of the things are, like, it's focused on beauty boosting superfoods, so I don't know how much I care to spread yogurt on my face with whatever mixed in it. But there were some interesting things in here. Like, I've been thinking about going to public pools lately, which freaks me out. But I realize that I'm not as active in the winter as I should be, and I'm thinking that might work for me. So I'm trying to convince myself to do it, but it's it just feels so wrong bathing with a bunch of strangers. But anyway, so when I think about it, I start getting freaked out about things, and I start noticing things in books like garlic clove fresh cut is a traditional treatment for warts, because I'm expecting, if I'm going to go to a public pool, even though I'm going to wear those little water slippers and stuff, I get worried, right? So I start writing things like that down. So there's a lot of things about here, or from this book about warts, because I was worried about that. And anyway, and I don't know if that works, sticking a cut fresh clove of garlic on your wart, and I don't know. But anyway, she says that the maximum benefit from the allicin and the garlic is when it's raw. Let it stand for 5 to 10 minutes after you crush it, and then consume it. And cook no longer than 15 minutes on low to medium heat. So, and I would believe her over anyone else regarding that. So I think I'm right to continue on with my raw garlic. It seems to be working for me. I'm feeling a lot better. And these, I can't remember what they're called. The fat lumps under my eyes aren't growing. I didn't get more of them, so I think I set things right. What did I... Oh, I learned something interesting. Page 91. Some agricultural chemicals have an oestrogen-like action that may contribute to cellulite formation. Interesting, hey? I didn't know that. And also, animal-based foods contain hormones that may affect cellulite development. So she's... What else did I write down? I wrote a lot of stuff down, but I don't know how much anybody else would be interested in. Crops grown using sulfur-based fertilizers may have low selenium levels, as the chemicals affect selenium uptake by plants. That's good to know. So if you're eating a food that should be rich in selenium, perhaps you should opt to get organic of that kind, because if the fertilizer would affect the selenium uptake, maybe you're not going to get as much in, say, chia seeds that aren't organic. I don't know if there are non-organic chia seeds, than, say, an organically grown one, right? Everyone knows that. I don't know why I wrote that down. Oh, thread veins. I didn't know what they were called, but the little veins that you can see in usually older people's faces or whatever. Telangiectasia. Eat bilberries and try an alkaline diet. More fruits and vegetables. Cut back on grain, barley, oats, quinoa, rice, and wheat. Cut back on dairy, cheese, milk, ice cream, yogurt. Animal proteins, eggs, meats, poultry, seafood, beer, and wine. And you're thinking, okay, what else can I eat then? Eat vitamin K rich foods, dark green leafy vegetables. So that's like James's kale juice, which I told him was ready. I think he's fell right back asleep. Tomatoes, prunes, edamame, pumpkin seeds, wheat germ oil, probiotic bacteria. Avoid spicy foods, coffee, tea, soda, preservatives, coloring, artificial sweeteners, additives. So if you have thread veins. And adolescents who consume more than 2 servings of cow's milk a day are more likely to have acne than those consuming fewer dairy products. So the thread veins was page 104, adolescents page 107. And sweet potatoes will help you keep your hair, I guess. Oh, there was also a wart removal with duct tape, which kind of freaked me out, and I don't know if that would work. Leave the tape on for 3 days, remove it, and file off dead skin. Repeat until wart is gone. Dab wart regularly with tea tree oil. That's page 112. And many people are naturally immune to warts, even though warts are highly contagious. And eating garlic daily may help wart to clear. So, it's really hot out here now.
It's warm.
Yeah. But that's good, I can get some vitamin D.
Yeah.
So you have the regular lineup. Kale, cucumber. A quarter of women don't get enough iron to replace menstrual losses, and 1/10 don't get enough iodine. Lack of either can lead to thinning hair. Page 120. What else? If you get a coated tongue, which could be from dehydration, lack of dietary fiber, imbalances in mouth bacteria, poor digestion function, then you can drink some cranberry juice, because they contain A-type proanthocyanidins, which bind to certain bacteria and prevent them from sticking to the lining of mouth and tongue. And stop drinking caffeinated fizzy drinks, alcohol, and sugar. Sea buckthorn oil is a traditional oral treatment for dry eyes. So if you're having troubles with blepharitis again,
I don't know if it's dry eyes.
Well, that was listed under the information for that.
Blepharitis?
I think so. Where did I put the book? Oh, it's on my lap. Oh, 144.
Is there any else yet, Marlene?
It's gotta be around here somewhere. What am I? Bags under eyes? That's not it. Dark circles? Nope. Red bloodshot? Nope. Well, it's gotta be one of those things because I didn't obviously put the page number down, but sometimes I forget. Oh, right there. So it was under red bloodshot eyes are linked with dry eyes, allergies especially to contact lens fluids, chemical irritation such as chlorine in swimming pools, eye fatigue, lack of sleep, conjunctivitis. Okay, so it won't work for you.
Well, I kind of got conjunctivitis ever since we got the cataract surgery.
Oh, yes. See? I knew I had read it in there. Blepharitis and inflammation of the eyelids can be due to an allergic reaction to cosmetics, face creams, perfume, shampoo, or even nail varnish. Stop using usual products when you're not using any of those. Then gradually reduce them. See if it triggers the problem. So, okay, so it won't help in your case, but
Probably.
I did remember it correctly.
That it was.
Then it was on that page. I just can't stand the foam on the juice.
It's the worst. Oh, did I get this in the wrong order?
No.
Okay, go.
It's just, there will be some kale in that because I put it through the juicer, the cucumber, right after the kale. Sorry.
Yeah,
So,
kale
yeah.
taste predominates. It's me.
Well, when I saw that, when it was coming out of the juicer, making the cucumber, I was like, oh, I better give that to James because that's your, you know.
Yeah, anyway, it's gone now. So good to get rid of that. Yeah, for some of this crazy stuff.
If you like.
In particular, it's not even good breading.
No, I know. It's totally white. But most diet books recommend you you eliminate breadcrumbs from your diet, because if you buy breadcrumbs, that's what you end up buying. They sell the white breadcrumbs.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, that's what people want to eat.
Of course, too.
This is market driven.
I was seeing on the particular fridge in Moose Jaw white bread. Of course, it wasn't my dad's shelf.
It wasn't Moose Jaw either.
Regina. So, well, your canna lilies are going better than mine. But you had yours.
I don't know how.
Well,
Because, like, that one's almost in the shade.
yeah. Who knows what
I'm
they
not
like
doing
best?
anything fancy to them.
Oh, well.
I was thinking of giving them actual chemical fertilizer.
Well, you water them
Because
maybe
I'm
every
not
day.
going to eat them, so whatever.
Huh? Do you
But-
eat them or
No, I don't eat
water
them.
them every day?
No. I water them when they need it.
Okay. See?
I'm terrible at trying to teach people to garden. Because I just know, you know. I don't.
Anyway, see,
People ask me,
I've been
how
watering by
often's your
hand.
water timer on? And it's like, well, I change it to what my plants are needing according to the weather. And, you know, when your plants get bigger, they need more water. When the weather is hotter and drier, they need more water. So,
Yeah, I haven't been hand watering them, so it's a sprinkler watering, which means it isn't quite as.
but with the cool nights like we're having,
They're loving it.
well, I dialed down the water timer
Yeah.
to once every 3 days again.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it up to once a day. That's only 5 minutes for, the soaker hose. Now it's 5 minutes every 3 days again.
That's amazing. But those are for the potted things, right?
It's a peat bell row.
That
Yeah.
stuff would hold on to water. It could
Yeah.
really kill things easily and something like that if you overwater.
Well, I think these guys are mostly taking it once every 3 days for water now. But not all of them. This sucker back here and his brother beside it take lots of water. Every day I have to water these guys or they wilt right down. So, little fruit fly on my fruit.
Yeah, he knows what he was made for.
I'm sorry, I'm dripping cucumber juice on your foot.
You missed, actually.
Oh, I did, eh? Good.
One or two drops.
Huh.
It's amazing how you missed.
I don't know how.
My feet aren't that big.
Wow. That raspberry was a little bit on the mold flavored side. Not. That one was good.
Yeah, it almost feels like summer.
Oh man,
Warm
this is so good.
sunshine. Raspberries.
Oh, if we
top
had
of
a farm with just lots of raspberries. What I wanted to do was I wanted to have my whole farm, like my production fields, right? Actually arranged like a garden, like a horticulturally designed garden. So I wanted to have things like a maze made out of my orchard trees, and so this could be like a quarter section that is a maze. And so great big maze with my orchard trees, and so how I would plant it is I'd get a trencher, and first I'd design the maze, right? And then get a trencher, and like once I've written out on the land where the trenches will go, and then plant slips for fruit trees, right? And raspberry bushes and roses, and so I'd get lots of rose hips too, and it'd be beautiful. It's I don't know why people don't do things like that. But then the paths, the chickens could run along the paths and stuff like that in the maze. And I don't even know how much I'd have to worry about. I'd still have to worry about the chickens getting eaten by hawks and stuff. But there'd be some happy chickens running around the maze. But yeah, I said to somebody a while back, I was talking about making wine, and I said, oh, raspberry wine. And when I talked to my grandma about wine, she said, oh, raspberry wine too. It's the best. So as I said to this guy, I said, oh, raspberry wine. He's like, oh, if you make raspberries into wine, that's a sin kind of thing, right? He was like, oh, don't do that, just eat the raspberries. If I had a farm with lots of raspberries in my maze, and I had lots, when my grandma had, I bet the camera's not going anymore. When my grandma had a farm, she had lots of raspberries, more than she could eat, and she had Grandpa till 'em under. I don't know why she did that. It broke my heart. You didn't want any of them, Hank.
Oh, sure. I thought they were for you and this was for me.
No, you could eat them too. There's more in the fridge.
I'll eat those last two then.